Good afternoon. I'm here with Vincent of KKR, who leads the European infrastructure strategy. Good afternoon, Vincent. Please introduce yourself and your firm.
Hi, David. Very good to be with you today. Maybe just a couple of words on KKR. So we are one of the leading alternative managers globally. We have been in business for over 50 years now. We started as a private equity business, but then we went into a number of other asset classes, including real estate, credit, and infrastructure, which is the business I look after. If I focus on infrastructure, we manage about 54 billion of assets today. We have a team of 115 people globally, and that's across 4 main strategies. We have what we call Core Plus infrastructure, which focuses on North America and Europe. Our core infrastructure strategy, same geographic focus, North America and Europe. We have then a dedicated strategy for Asia Pacific. And then finally, last addition to the product range and to the family, we are about to launch our climate strategy. In all those strategies, we are focused on a few sectors. Really, digital infrastructure is a big part of what we have done, and energy transition, decarbonization more broadly, again, a big focus for us.
So KKR is really a heavyweight in infrastructure, and you're the heavyweight in Europe. So what kind of trends are you seeing in Europe in the bigger picture?
Yes, it has been an interesting couple of years. I'm not going to lie about that. So if you think about the macro environment, clearly higher inflation, higher rates, creating a number of challenges for economies and investors. In a way, it is a blessing in disguise for infrastructure because that was really the opportunity for the asset class to show how resilient we are, how good we are at passing through inflation. So that has been really an important proof point for the asset class. Irrespective of the macro picture, I would say the investment requirements on infrastructure are massive. If you think about digital, fiber networks, towers, if you think about energy transition, massive investment needs. It's pretty clear that private capital will be key to achieve those investment targets. So there is no public funding for all of that. So the role we will have to play in funding all that investment is absolutely critical. And then if you take a step back, Europe has always been primarily the biggest market for private investing in infrastructure. And if you look at France, where we sit today, long tradition of private capital investing. So we have been active in the region for 20 years, and that is and remains a big focus for us.
So you say climate and energy transition are in focus. How have you adapted your strategy to those areas?
It is a moving feast, it is a moving target. So if you think about climate transition investing, 10, 15 years ago, it was all about renewable energy. And this is really where we started, onshore wind, solar, this type of investments. I would say today the realization is it is a lot broader than that. So if you think about decarbonization, you really have to address that across multiple sectors of economy and society. So it's energy, it's mobility, it's industry, it's buildings. We're not in a real building today, but you can address that as well. Forestry, agriculture. So it's a very broad scope in order to really achieve the objectives that the world has set itself around, a path to net zero and decarbonizing our economies and societies.
And can you illustrate this shift of strategy through a case study?
Oh, sure. So if we think about climate investing and where we want to go, we kind of put that into 3 buckets. So part of that, which is really where we started, is about deploying existing solutions. I talked about renewable energy. It's not new, but the scale of investment required is massive. So we will continue to pour a lot of capital into that. Then there is what we call scaling new solutions. So something that is less established, but still highly critical and relevant. Fleet electrification is a great example of that. So there is a massive need to electrify fleets. That's an emerging business model and technology, but something that we want to grow as well. And then the last bit is really about what we call transitioning existing assets. So situations where you have existing assets in energy, in the industrial space, think of stuff like steel manufacturing or chemicals, and you really have to transition those assets as well. So again, I think we started with a fairly narrow lens, and that has expanded a lot over the years.
And do you have a particular transaction in mind, now that you've shown me the 3 areas?
Yeah, so I think a very good example is a transaction we signed in a couple of weeks ago, which is the first in our climate strategy. It's a business called Zenobi. It's a UK-based company, and they do 2 things really. They do fleet electrification. So think about buses, commercial vehicles, that kind of vehicles. So they really contribute to the electrification of these big fleets with clients like Transdev or National Express. And then the other business that Denobi does is utility scale battery storage. So they build these very big batteries that then provides services to the grid to stabilize the grid and ensure that electricity is on all the time. So it's a business which in many ways has similarities to what we have done historically in infrastructure. You have hard assets, you have long-term contracts, high quality counterparties, but then there is a whole growth development skewed to that particular investment, which means that really wouldn't fit in the existing strategies we have. So this one is probably a very good illustration of what we are trying to achieve with this new strategy.
And 24, you're optimistic for 2024?
Again, the appeal of that asset class is that it has really shown the resilience. It is in a market where the tailwinds, the fundamentals are extremely strong. What has really characterized infrastructure as an asset class is that financing has not been an issue in the same way that it has been for other sectors. So I would say, the demand is here, the availability of capital is here, and we think we can achieve a lot in the next 12 years.
Good. So the answer is yes, you are optimistic.
So long answer to say yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Vincent.
You're welcome.
Pleasure.
Thank you.